Good evening, I'm Rob Coles. Thanks for joining us. A somber anniversary on the Iron Range this weekend. On December 1st, 1993, Northwest Airlink Flight 5719 crashed during its approach to the Chisholm-Hibbing Airport. All of the plane's 18 occupants died that night. Today, the Hibbing community came together to honor those lives lost. Northern News Now's Jack Wiedner heard from people who were there on that tragic day 30 years ago.
Many Iron Rangers still remember the moment they first heard about Flight 5719. For them, December 1st, 1993 is a day they will never forget.
10 after 10, I still remember it. 10 after 10 that evening, I received a phone call. All that the people were aware of was the fact the plane was missing.
Family and friends gathered at a church in Hibbing and waited to hear more.
Right around midnight, the airport manager, Dave Danielson, he came to share the information.
The plane, a Jetstream 31, was found not far from the airport. All 16 passengers and 2 pilots perished in the crash.
Whenever something like this happens in a small community like Hibbing, everybody knows somebody, and everyone is affected.
Steve Breitbarth and John Petrich are chaplains with St. Louis County. They were sent to Hibbing in 1993 and provided support to those affected by the crash. On Sunday, they once again gathered with the Hibbing community.
I thought, gee, it's a 30-year anniversary. It'd be a very good time to get people together to give each other support.
The names of the victims were read at the ceremony. Breitbarth, Petrich, and other officials offered their thoughts and condolences. They say in the wake of tragedy,
keeping alive the stories from the people that have died becomes very, very important. And that's what today is about.
In Duluth, Jack Wiedner, Northern News Now.
And today's ceremony was held at the Range Regional Airport, which was formerly known as the Chisholm-Hibbing Airport.